So I actually just realized I have a few extra tools that will be needed for replacing the external cabin filters. Basically, it has a few push rivets that we need to take care of. I'll you'll be seeing that shortly. But this is basically a push rivet tool. It's really useful uh, to use on rivets such as these. So you can use this. You can use other tools as well, but this comes in really handy, and if you have one lying around, definitely use it. I also got this set. It has 850 retainer clips with some 55 extra pieces, but this is a really good set to have if you tend to work on your own car quite often, because at least on the BMWs I can tell they happen to have a few of these all over the place. So in case while you break one of these while removing them from the car using this tool, you have a few extra clips lying around that you can use. It also came with this plastic push to it set. It's good enough to have if you're just doing basic maintenance thing, but if you work on your car often, I'd suggest to get a metal based push rivet because it won't chip easily from the front. And these are some extra sort of zip ties that came with this set actually. I'm assuming this is the 55 piece that they are referring to. But yeah, it's similar to a zip tie sort of platform, but specifically made for different parts in the car. So if you encounter any one of these while working on your car, definitely have this set before you start working, in case you break one of these and you're unable to drive to the nearest hardware shop. I got this on Amazon, like this whole set. I believe this was extra, but yeah, these are not super expensive. It's like probably 25-30 bucks, dollars USD. So yeah, a good thing to have around. The next thing we'll be working on is replacing the interior cabin filters. They're located on the passenger side right below your glove box. So let me use a light for this. So if you see down here, there are a few twist tabs like this, one over here, 2 and 3. So you basically have to rotate them like this. It should just stay open. Second and the third, and this should basically pop out. So once you have opened these 3 tabs, let me put the torch over here. Yeah, so 1, 2 and 3, you need to wiggle it a little bit because there are latches on the back side. If I can show it, yeah, this one and that one. Once you have this open, you should be able to see this little black strip that you just need to push on the right and it should just pop out. Now that we have the black piece out, you can notice the air filter right here, and you can just pull it down slowly. Like this. Yeah, if you can see, there is a little airflow sign. The arrow is pointing, if I can get into focus, on the left. So make sure the new one that you put in is also in the same direction. So some people might think replacing the filters are not as important, but you can check the difference. This is the new one. You can see it's all white, and this one you can see is really dirty. And this is really important in order to have fresh, clean air inside the car. If you smell of any odor, any moisture, any dew sort of things, it's likely one of this or the exterior cabin filter under the hood that we'll be changing in the next part. So over here you can see how dirty this has got, and I replace my cabin filters every 6 to 8 months. I travel quite a bit, I drive quite a bit. This year alone, or last year in 2024, I put on about 45,000 miles doing a cross country road trip. That's, I'll be talking about it in my next video. But yeah, replacing cabin filter is really important in order, to maintain your own health and the interior and the car interior's health as well. Now that we have removed the old cabin interior cabin filter, we can just reverse the steps and put the new one in. Make sure you know the airflow symbol is pointing to the left as it was in the previous filter, and just slide it back in the same place you removed it from. I'll have to use two hands to do it, so I'll show you guys the after part. So as you can see, I was able to get the new filter in. It's a tight spot, so make sure you don't damage any of the other wires lying around. This is a fuse box that you definitely do not want to mess with unintentionally. But yeah, once this is slid in, you need to put this cover back on to hold it in place. Again, I will need two hands to do it, so I'll show you the after results. Okay, so we were able to put back the cover in. Just make sure it's not pushing onto any wire, because that might cause some issues later on. And also make sure it is seated in well, so that it doesn't fall off while you're driving. You don't want that to happen. But yeah, it's basically you push it on a little bit on the right and push it to the left. The tabs are on the left side of the filters, and then basically you put this back in. Make sure to line these tabs first on the inside over here, and then just push it back in. For the outer covering, just push it all the way back to the tabs, and these should automatically line up, and then just twist and push them inside like this. This is done. Middle one and the right one. Yes, so this is all secured now. So I completely forgot to wear back my gloves during the interior cabin filter, but please don't repeat the same mistake. I got a lot of dust on my hands, and that's when I realized I need to wear gloves. But yeah, on the next part, we are hopping on to the exterior cabin filter, which is located on the passenger side of the car. So it's over here. We'll be going through step by step. We have the only tool you really need for this one, at least right now, is just the pick to remove the push rivet, which is over here. And we are going to be using the man filter CUK2941-2. This may differ based on the model, the year of your car, but FCP Euro has great tools to determine which filters is the best for your particular make and model. So make sure you check which filter you're getting before you order, to make sure that the filter is actually for your car and not from some other model. So the first thing we'll be doing is removing this top cover. In order to do so, there is a push rivet right over here. It starts over here, and the push rivet, and there is a tab right there. So we need to take off this cover first in order to get to the cabin filters, which is this part that you see over here. So in order to remove the pick, use a pick like this and just seat it in well, and use a little bit of leverage to remove this. Once you have it remove slightly, you can just use your hands to remove it all the way. There's an easier way to do. You just press on these tabs right over here in order to fully remove it. So this looks something like this, and save this if you don't have any spares. Try to take it easy while removing it because this is plastic and it might break while taking it off. So yeah, just be slow on this part of removing the top cover. The next tab that we will be removing is this one. It's pretty simple, just pinch it in and pull this part up. Once you have removed this tab and the pusher from here, you can simply pull it up, and yeah, there is another tab over here holding, so you need to pull this up a little bit and remove this whole setting. And just the next thing we are going to be doing is removing the cabin filter set, which is basically held on by this little tab that you need to push in and take it out at an angle so that you don't have to worry about the arm holding the hood or any other parts. So I'll just pull onto this tab, take it off. It should open up like this. There's no other tabs that you need to worry about, and just push it out. It's gonna take a little bit taking it off because again I'm using one hand and we haven't removed any of the other things which are not really necessary. Oh, I just realized I don't need a torch. There's good enough lighting. You just make sure you're not, touching any wires while taking it off. And just slide it like this. And these are the filters inside. We'll take these off, replace with the new ones, and put this bad boy back in. Removing the filters is fairly simple. These are held on by little tabs on all four sides, but if you are able to take out these two, it should just slide up like this and this, and just slide it back up. Repeat on the next part. Just like this, and these should come out, and this is the housing for the filter. And yeah, I was saying, definitely wear gloves. I keep my car, I try to keep it as clean as possible, but even that dust will get on your hands, so definitely wear gloves. So as you can see, these are the new filters that we got. It comes with a manual, I believe, on how to replace it. And just for comparison, this is the new filter and this is the old one. So it might look dirty, but it actually isn't. These are just carbon filters to help the car keep the air much cleaner. But I'm not sure how visible it is in the camera, but you can see dust inside of these. For comparison, this is the new filters that, as you can see, it's very clean. On the other hand, these are super dirty. So these are basically responsible for the air intake for the interior cabin. These filters will will get abused the most out of all the filters, I believe, and the engine filter that we'll be going over soon. But yeah, if you ever smell any dew, any moisture, or any odor inside uh, in the interior cabin, it's definitely you need to replace the exterior ones and the interior filters that we just changed. Before putting in the new filters in this, just make sure this is clean. There's no residue or moisture or any sorts of thing, and you can just wipe it with a normal cloth or microfiber cloth. This is basically all plastic, so it doesn't matter what thing you use to clean it. But yeah, just make sure it's really, really dry if you're using any sort of water-based solution to clean it, because you don't want moisture to form inside the cabin and in the filters. Let's go a little bit over how these actually work. So these filters are going to be sitting over here, one and the other one over here. And the air intake in the car is actually this triangle that you see. Even over here, you can see that this triangle is basically the air intake. So yeah, make sure no rivets, no screws fall into that, because it will be a problem to taking them out. So basically, it's fairly a straightforward process to put these back in. You can notice that these have airflow symbols. So definitely make sure the arrow is pointed inwards so that the air can flow inside and then back out to the air intake in the car. But you cannot really go wrong with these because of these actual little tabs. There's only one way to put it. If you even try to put it in the wrong way, these won't go in. And it also has a little, bar so that it won't go in the wrong direction. So basically, yeah, you put these like this. Make sure you hear the popping sound, and all the tabs are secured. And even for the next one, it's pretty much the same thing. You just push it in, seat it correctly, push it in, and you should hear the tabs click on all four. Just visually make sure that all the tabs are sitting inside. Again, so this is a plastic housing part, and once you replace a filter like 4 or 5 times and you push it too hard, this little plastic holder on the main housing can get weak and can even break in some cases. So make sure you're a little gentle with these, but they should be seated incorrectly, and you can check on all ends over here too. And if you think that the plastic holders are getting weak, you can just order this housing on fcpeuro.com. They have brand new from BMW themselves, but I'm pretty sure there are other brands, OE brands that are as good, honestly, and probably for 1/5 of the rate that BMW sells at. So once you have your filter setting correctly and you double checked it, triple checked it, honestly, because this sits on the outside. So, it might get some vibrations, things like that. So once this is flipped over, you don't want it to be falling off while driving, or the tab becoming loose. So the last part for the air filter is just to put it back in. You can see over here there are a few tabs that you can line up right over here so that it sits properly. Again, it's going to be a tight fit to put it back in at an angle, because we didn't take off these covers, the rubber and everything. So yeah, you will have to slide it in like this and push it back, make sure it's seated. And this tab, if you have put it in correctly, this tab should automatically get in the position it's meant to be here. And if it is fitting in correctly, you have done a good job. So for the last part, we'll be putting the top cover back in. It's Pretty easy. You just need to line this up with the little tab over here and this hole with the tab over there. You might need to put it at an angle and make sure this part is on top of this particular sort of plastic area. Okay. The best is to sort of slide this up like here. The tab needs to be on top of that particular tab. Actually, yeah, just like that. You should just lock in. Just make sure this tab is secured. This tab is also secured. And then you'll be putting back the push rivet in over here. So we can see it's properly placed in. So for the final part, we just have to push the final push rivet in. It's in the name, you just gotta push it. So you can see it's like this. And just press it a little bit. You go in the hole and you just gotta push it in. Don't use a hammer or anything, you can just use your hand to push it enough inside, and then you can see it's all the way in. Just check once, the other side pops out like this, and just make sure all the 3 points are secured. So this looks good. The other is this little tab. The tab on this particular part should be on top of, if I can get my camera in there, yeah. So over here, I don't want to lose my torch inside, but yeah. So this tab the tab from this housing should be laid on the top, on the bottom, if you can see right there. So that's the second point, and the third point is right over here. It's properly secured, and you can even try to move it. It shouldn't move a lot. The top housing should be rested on the little plastic part that we saw earlier. And yeah, that completes changing or replacing the exterior cabin filters on the X5. Next one, we'll be replacing the engine filter, which is inside this.